welcome to my beach house. If you're wondering, the cabin is doing just fine. I managed to keep it without paying off any bills or rent, so we're good there. Don't ask me how I did it, it's called a secret cabin for a reason. But I will publicly announce that this beach house is located in Florida, but I'm staying inside because I don't want to get eaten by an alligator, and the rumors about Florida men tendencies are more true than any conspiracy theory that isn't stupid. So if I had to guess, about 2. But we're here to talk about the Olympics again, and you probably already know how I feel about them by now. If not, I'm sorry, but now you have homework. Welcome to the bedroom. Notice how there isn't a single female in my bed. Honestly, that should tell you the full story, but luckily we're not going to be here for long. That's because the bathroom is the only place I can efficiently do my usual presentations, so we're just going to have to make it work. The 2000s, in my opinion, holds a good number of the best years of all time. 2008, 2016, 2018, and I'd argue 2019 as a dark horse year. But let's go back to one of the best years of my personal life as a skeleton. It would have been 2012, but we actually have to talk about 2011. Cars 2 just had to exist for some reason. There was a ton of hit classic songs, but on the gaming side, there were a ton of bangers that released. Skyrim, Portal 2, Batman Arkham City, unfortunately Skyward Sword, and Nintendo released their next big handheld that got very mixed reactions, but eventually turned out to be a great console. But let's stay with the Nintendo Wii while it's on its hospital bed, enjoying the rest of its lifespan before Nintendo goes down to hell. Also, there's no real reason to talk about the Olympics again, but fictional Olympics is more than welcome. Okay, so to continue the Mario and Sonic World Tour, we will get an announcement for the next Olympic Games, I guess. Honestly, I have no idea. There isn't too much development information to go deeper into, but just enough for me to work with. So London 2012 was announced at a joint press release by both Sega and Nintendo on April 21st, 2011. The IOC is back, giving Sega the permissions to use the official Olympic logo in their game, so shoutouts to them for keeping tradition. Although weirdly enough, I could only find 2 trailers for the game on the Wii, while everything else was marketed for the 3DS, which makes sense during the time, but at least pretend you give a damn about your dying console that's about to get an underwhelming sequel. Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games was released on the Nintendo Wii first in North America on November 15, 2011, 2 days later in Australia, a day later in Europe, and December 8, 2011 in Japan. Surprising that a game based on Europe doesn't get the game first. Obviously Taiwan and South Korea would eventually get the game at some point, but it's time to see how 2012 manages to evolve this franchise and separate itself from its past predecessors. Alright, so reception on this game is very interesting. Metacritic gave both the Wii and 3DS versions of the game a 66 out of 100, but let's actually analyze some of these critiques and reviews. Starting off with the official Nintendo magazine, they gave London 2012 a 73 out of 100, stating that the Wii version is a step sideways for the series. Talk about a unique approach. The topic this writer mentioned as to why they believe things were looking 90 degrees was because of the gameplay and lack of challenge, as they believe it would make for an underwhelming experience for solo players. And honestly, that's fair because not everyone has friends, but luckily there is some extra content that'll fill that lonely hole. Take that as you will, I'm not original. Eurogamer comes in with a 60 out of 100. They believe this iteration failed to replicate the charm and formula of 2008 and 2010. They also stated that many of the game modes remain similar or undercooked. I don't know about this one because there is a new game mode that actually expands on a past mode and is completely unique. I do agree that some of the charm is gone, but it's not completely soulless. This is still a Nintendo game after all, alongside Sega, even though Sega was the one who produced it. You know what, whatever. Games Radar Plus with the 3 out of 5 stars, claiming a lack of new content and predictability, which is interesting, although this writer did single out a certain mode that we'll go over later as the only fun aspect of this game. You might as well have given this game a lower rating due to the overall negativity, but we'll let it go. IGN, 7.5 out of 10. Honestly, I'm not mad. I respect this rating. They praised the presentation of London, and seeing Mario and Sonic as specific landmarks of London elevated the experience, something that Beijing didn't really try and Vancouver experimented, although they were expecting Wii Motion Plus support for this game and believed there was a missed opportunity for some expanded gameplay. And that's a good idea, but I don't know what they would have done to evolve the the motion controls for this game, but I'm not against it. The question is, what would they do? And honestly, we'll never know. I want to mention some third-party sources outside of the States that talked about this game in their own right. First up, we got The Guardian, a British daily newspaper, and one writer states that the game didn't do the environment and visuals of London justice, while praising the vibrancy and bright visuals as it would easily capture the eye of the target audience. The next media outlet I want to mention is Digital Spy, a British media network. A writer mentioned the colorful, cartoonish aesthetic and the characters that'll hopefully appeal to younger generations, and they're one of many when they mentioned the appeal of dream events and how accurate they represent the real-life counterparts. So generally mixed reactions between sources. I am relatively surprised, but a lot of these critiques can be argued without anyone needing a face transplant. But let's take a look at the third home console installment and see what's going down in the UK. This is Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. Amy, close your mouth. Okay, so let's start off with our cast of characters. You'd think because this is a new entry, we would get ourselves some new blood to compete against Dr. Eggman, but sadly the crew is the exact same from Vancouver. The only exception I can give this roster is that Bowser Jr., Silver, Donkey Kong, and Metal Sonic are making their Summer Olympics debut. I'm okay with no new additions, although it would have been nice. We got the same archetypes we've seen since 2008 and the same characters represent those attributes. You can still get any world record with any character, but specific characters still excel at certain sports. To me, this element of the gameplay doesn't feel as impactful as it used to in 2008, but it's not a knock towards the game. It's still a cool detail, just not as noticeable here. Now the Miis are exactly the same as they were in 2010. With no customization, they're balanced in every stat just like Mario, but you can customize their outfits alongside their stats getting altered as well. The curse factor is still here, but this time I'm not gonna dress up Spider-Man in a Rouge costume, but I will give him a cosplay of Big the Cat, and shoutouts to my boy Hudson for agreeing to be a Wenlock, and I have no idea what the hell that is, but it's kinda funny. I really do like the extra costumes and pieces of clothing you can put on your Miis. A lot of these additions are really funny. Dress up your whole Mii as a horse, a knockoff Robin Hood, a whole knight, or a ninja. Honestly, this has to be offensive somehow, but it's too funny for me not to confirm. Alright, we're here, the land of the Union Jack. Let's get into some action, although unfortunately there are only 4 girls in this game, so our options are very limited. But to avoid a waifu war that's gonna happen anyway, we're here to talk about the sports. And dream events getting a legendary catalog, so let's take a look. The regular Olympic events come first, and we got a total of 21 events, with 11 of these events being brand new. Here are all the returning events that I've already talked about in 2008, so let's take a look at what London has to offer. Keeping up the tradition of random order because I like chaos, let's start off with equestrian, one of the most dangerous events in all of the Olympics, but luckily Silver doesn't have to suffer the consequences of falling off his horse if he gets in stupid. We ride around your average equestrian course, stay on the track and jump over obstacles, and whoever has the fastest time wins. Although if you fail to avoid the obstacles, you'll get a time penalty added to your final time. This is a cool sport to play every now and then, but I wish there were different courses of different variety to play around with instead of just the one we have to play on, but it's still a cool event. Next up is canoeing, and don't mix this up with rowing. It's in the same setting, but the race itself is different. This is a quick race between 4 teams of 2, and both teammates work together to get to the finish line fastest. When it comes to the gameplay, it's very simple, where you have to time your swing with the Wii remote to the fake rhythm, because this is not a rhythm game, regardless of how cool that would be. Very quick and easy event to get through, and it kinda encourages multiple returns to try and break your record, but the quick and easy gameplay makes up for it. Kinda. Our first new gymnastics event being uneven bars. Compete for the best overall score by swinging and doing tricks for a specific amount of time while switching between both low and high bars. Once you start, you have to build up speed and start racking up the points. A very interesting aspect of this event is the scoring itself. There's a max score you can obtain if you complete your routine with 0 mistakes. A total of 30 points max being the result of a flawless performance. Nothing more, nothing less. It's satisfying to pull off on the first go, but replaying it multiple times knowing you can't go any higher could leave you feeling empty due to you not being able to get better or worse when you've already peaked. But watching the bigger characters doing any type of gymnastics will always be funny to me. Moving over to the London Sports Arena, we get to our last new gymnastics event, and that's Rhythmic Ribbon. This is basically figure skating from 2010 with a London 2012 filter over it. We have the same gameplay. Time your swings with the respective markers, swing your Wii remote up or down, tilting for balance, rotating for spins, as well as the finishing pose. I don't want to say this is a complete carbon copy, but I wouldn't blame you if you disagree with that argument because the similarities are there. The only true differences are the general setting, the sport itself, as well as the music you can choose from. Speaking of which, the third song that I can't pronounce is the best one, I Will Fight You. This is still a really fun event, and I do believe they use the same formula of figure skating because it works with this event just as well, and I think that's fine, but it would have been a little bit better if it had its own original twist to it. Alright, so Sega and Nintendo did not take my advice from 2008 because Amy is back with a gun and I'm very scared. This is a different version of shooting, and for those who don't know what I'm talking about, if this looks familiar to you, then you're in the right place. We got 6 rounds and we just shoot at the targets in the fixed amount of time. Each round gets progressively shorter, so you gotta stay on your toes and try to stay as accurate as possible without accidentally turning around and shooting a fan. I want someone to remake this poster with these characters. I will love you forever. Next on the list is synchronized swimming, yet another super dangerous sport in real life, and this is vastly different from Deca Sports 2. Although on the surface, it is really interesting. Here we have to pose to the rhythm, but it's more so just having the weird mode in the right position at the right time. I really liked this one when I was younger, and Spring Song is definitely the best option, although this time I won't fight you because the other songs are cool too. My only complaint for this event in rhythmic gymnastics is the small list of music to choose from, and even some Mario or Sonic music similar to what Dream Figure Skating had. Even then, normal figure skating in Vancouver had 6 songs to choose from, so I guess you'd want to at least match the same number and bring back Ave Marie. That song is beautiful. But the more I think about it, because we have 2 rhythm-based sports, it does bring in a total of 6 songs, but you either play one over the other, both, or none of them at all, so it really depends on the player. For me, I do prefer more music to choose from for both events. Now we move on to our first long-form event as we head down to the Horse Guards Parade for some beach volleyball. I expected horses on the sideline and I'm very disappointed. I hate everything. This is your average game of 2v2 beach volleyball. Serve, bump, and spike the ball into your opponent's face if they try to block. Nothing too special going on except being able to use special attacks by filling up an imaginary meter and letting it rip like Wario. Next up is discus throw, the only new field event we got, and it's exactly what you think it is. Throw a discus as far as you possibly can. Whoever has the furthest distance is the winner. Prepare your shot, adjust your angle, and give it a good throw. Unlike hammer throw, you can't scream like a psycho, so there goes any charm I thought this event would have. Now let's travel on over to the Millennium Stadium for some football. Honestly, it's a tongue twister. Try saying it 5 times fast. I'm sorry to all my American viewers that didn't get the gist that we're in the United Kingdom. 4v4 traditional football with everyone's favorite players. Tails, Yoshi, Metal Sonic, and Rusty. The 4 horsemen of football. Who the f is Ronaldo? Everything you'd expect from a game of football with Mario and Sonic characters is here, so there isn't much to go deeper into other than the usual power shots you get when doing general actions, and you'll gain the energy of the crowd and you can pull off a power shot, but other than the power of friendship, there isn't much to talk about here. Fun sport, but not a ton of substance. Want to talk about another dangerous sport? Let's play some team pursuit cycling. Take your team of 4 and race around the track. In this game, follow the leader and beat the other team's time, and whoever has the greatest time difference is the winner. This is an 8-lap pursuit and you switch leaders after every lap, and you need S-tier chemistry with your team in order to pass the leadership role off to the next teammate, as well as staying on the same path on the course. In real life, this is a very fast-paced, intense event. Although here it is fast, but it feels a bit automated at times, but it is a nice change of pace. Now we make our way back to the London Sports Arena for some badminton, 2v2 and hitting a feathered ball. We're so f***ing back, baby. Time your swings and hope your opponents are idiots. If they give you a bad return, it gives you the opportunity for a fat jump shot. That also becomes a power shot when the shuttle turns red alongside the power of friendship from the audience. Yeah, it's back. Honestly, I don't know anymore. That's it for all the new Olympic events. Now, some of the returning events have new gameplay. All the track events aren't as strict as 2008 when it comes to control. Hammer throw gives you a quick slow-mo to time your throw. In javelin, you have to aim your throw similar to discus. Trampoline is fully motion controlled now instead of pressing buttons, which is what I personally prefer from 2008, although you can press B to get into the pike position. So there have been upgrades to the general gameplay of returning events, but let's move on to the dream event. We got 10 brand new dream events to dive into, and my god, these just keep getting better and better. The random wheel chooses dream rafting first. It's been nice knowing you. At first, this doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the General Olympics, and I wouldn't blame you for thinking that, but I think it has something to do with canoeing, but more so kayak slalom. But the general setting does remind me of the kayak slalom challenge from Deca Sports 3, and it's relatively similar, but there's there's more chaos here. Work together as a team of 4 and get as many points as possible. Grab coins and avoid literally anything that doesn't look like a coin that will slow you down. You also have to control the raft using the weight of the characters to navigate the course. Sometimes ball bombs will be thrown onto the raft. Get rid of them so you don't get staggered, and there will be a ton of different obstacles to avoid all the way down to the big waterfall. I don't come back to this as often as other Dream events, but it's definitely a great refresher. Time to head out to Moo Moo Meadows for some Dream Equestrian. A team of 4 race wagons that hold 7 Yoshi eggs. The goal is to complete the course while avoiding obstacles as fast as possible. If you crash into literally anything, you'll lose a Yoshi egg, which will give you a time penalty. The fastest team wins. The amount of chaos that can ensue is pretty insane, and I really like this take on horseback riding because this isn't Mario Sports Superstars. Making our way over to Battle Rock Galaxy for my favorite Dream event for this bunch, Dream Hurdles. We run around 2 conveyor belts, and there are hurdles we have to jump over that give us points. You can also leapfrog over opponents in front of you, and question mark switches will have various effects occur from spawning green shells, rotation speed, and more. I love how fast and upbeat this event is, especially when things get more hectic near the end. You're jumping all over the place and just trying to survive, and it's a thrill. Now we're moving out south to Ocean Palace for some Dream Fencing, a free-for-all battle royale. Stab like a yandere and push your opponents off the stage. Use special abilities to infect the environment. Whenever a player gets knocked out, they turn into a bomb balloon and can ensue chaos amongst everyone still alive. This was the ultimate mini battle royale. You either go super aggressive on offense or camp for as long as you possibly can. If you're playing Luigi, you'll get a stealth buff by standing still. I am legally required to tell you that everything I just said about Luigi was a lie. Next up, we're heading on over to Windy Valley for some Dream Discus, an epic race of bumper discus. Collect rings, use items, destroy your competition, and score as many points as possible throughout the race. I love the spectacle of Windy Valley, and this kinda reminds me of Sonic Riders before I fell off. Alright, so now it's 2 AM and parties in London go absolutely insane from what I've heard, and I'm sure Crazy Gadget is the place to be for some Dream Trampoline. This is my second favorite Dream event behind Dream Hurdles. Every round, 2 players take turns hopping off the platform, and once you're in the air after your initial bounce, you have to perform as many tricks as possible in a chain, and the more tricks you perform, the more points you get. Every round you jump from much higher distances, and that leaves for a ton of points to be collected. Also, whenever you're not jumping, you can get some extra points by cheering on your competitors by swinging to the beat of the music. At least that's what I think it is, but this is basically Trampoline from 2008 just in a Red Bull setting. Not specifically this insanity, but it's still intense to witness. But I guess we'll have to ride the Red Bull wave a bit longer with Dream Uneven bars and Grand Metropolis. There are a bunch of highlighted bars to swing across, and you have to go from bar to bar. Once the bar you're swinging on loses its color, then you have to move on to the next bar. You can even attach yourself to an opponent to start mooching off them, gaining some decent points while they do all the work. And once the ending goal rises up, you'll get 10 points if you land on the platform. Can someone tell me if Yoshi's picture book is a real thing or if it's an original setting for this game? Because I have no idea. Either way, Dream Long Jump is a gauntlet battle royale of constant cloud jumping, obstacles everywhere. You can screw over your competition, and whoever travels the furthest distance wins. This event to me is very underrated, and I clearly didn't give it enough attention when I was younger, but there's a good thrill here. You gotta tread carefully the longer you stay, but as long as you can sabotage your competition by sending them all to hell and claim your dub, you'll be good. We may be going to Bingo Highway next, but you better not think for a second that we're gambling. This is basically a pinball race, but it's a lot of fun. Avoid bumpers, jump on the rails for secret pathways, and hope you don't choke away the win. I love the setting, and it reminds me of Dream Snowboard Cross from Vancouver, but I think I prefer Radical Highway compared to Bingo Highway. The final Dream event is a Mario and Sonic tradition by now, and that's the event that has absolutely nothing to do with the Olympics. We're headed over to Synchro Battle Galaxy for Dream Spacewalk. Sonic characters finally get to experience Mario Galaxy before it all goes to hell in a few years. You play as a team of 4 and you fly through the galaxy and fight against Dino Piranha, who you have to defeat as fast as possible. Use motion controls to get into formation on screen, and once you go in, spam your attack button to do more damage. This is literally the Dream platform and Dream gliding of 2012. It stands out and takes advantage of the amazing Super Mario Galaxy environment. The general setting reminds me of Dream Ski Jump from Vancouver, even though the general scale of this event is smaller compared to Dream Ski Jump, but this is still a really fun event. And that's it for the events. There are a lot of great ones here, and to me none of them are bad, even though some stand out more than others. All the athletics, gymnastics, and swimming events, beach volleyball, shooting, football, every single Dream event I very much enjoy. Although I do enjoy some more than others, but I have a positive outtake on every single event. Now, as much as I enjoyed these events, there is one thing I'm not the biggest fan of. The fact that they had to take away events from 2008 to replace replace them with new events. Now I get that you want new events to keep the franchise fresh, but why not add on to what Beijing already had instead of taking away specific events? Not only does it make the catalog bigger, but it makes it look more impressive. Bringing back the 400-meter events, 4x100-meter freestyle relay, pole vault, triple jump, and all those other events, Aquatics mainly takes a big hit from this because I'm very surprised we didn't see the relay come back, as well as the controls being different for certain swim strokes in the 100-meter freestyle, as well as that event feels a lot faster than 2008. Honestly, something about it just doesn't feel right to me. Although it would have been funny if Dream Platform returned, but I do understand why they didn't bring back those Dream events. You want to keep those events original and unique with every entry instead of the same thing over and over again. A lot of fun sports, solid quality, but let's move on. Now moving on to the big marketed game mode. I guess you can call it marketing. Honestly, I have no idea. Beijing had circuit mode, Vancouver had the festival, London decided to kick it up a notch with London Party. This mode takes advantage of the city being represented and uses it as a playground with a ton of different mini games to play. I remember saying that they never brought back mini games when I talked about Vancouver. Well, consider that a lie because they're literally right here. And good lord, is there a noticeable overhaul. But we'll go into those in a second. So what is London Party and what can you do? London Party is a mode where you can tour through London in your free time and compete in events or play mini games to win a set number of stickers. Whoever fills up their sticker sheets completely wins London Party. And yes, stickers is the main collectible here. Bonus events can happen at any time. During free time, there will be a set number of characters that will appear in the city, and you can interact with them by walking up to them, and most of the time it'll start up an event. It's always random and can be a variety of options we'll go over later. You can actually choose whether or not you want to play the mini game. If you don't, then you can either interact with another character or go back to that character to play said mini game. The player that initiates whatever character and starts up an event will get a bonus sticker regardless of how they place in the mini game. After a mini game is played, all the contestants must fill up their sticker sheets. Each sheet has room for 16 stickers. There's a group of question marks on each sheet. If you place a sticker on them, something random will happen and it'll affect either you or the competition in a positive or negative way. As the game goes on for longer periods of time, the question marks will change color, and those will change the chances of specific actions happening, more so negative than positive towards the player who activated it. At the beginning of London Party, you can choose how long you want to play based on the number of stickers that must be collected. You can go for 1, 2, or 3 sheets. Every now and then a rival character will appear, and whenever you approach them, that will activate a rival showdown. You 1v1 whatever character you interacted with within a specific event, and if you win, you'll get a big sticker that takes up 4 spaces on the sticker sheet. You can even have a rematch with these characters whenever you beat them once, and you'll face off against them in a completely different event. I love how deep this mode can get, and I like that it can technically go on forever because it lasts until someone gets every single sticker slot filled up. This is basically a more expansive, semi-open world Mario Party game based in London, with Olympic events instead of traditional Mario Party minigames. Speaking of which, let's talk about the minigames. There's a total of 54 minigames. We got quizzes, running through the open city, a top-down perspective similar to London Party's free time, and rival showdowns. You can also play these whenever you want after you play them for the first time, and that's a great feature. London Party is one of the best modes in the entire franchise in my opinion. I'd say it's infinitely replayable because anything can happen, and I don't think it gets old at all. These unique modes keep getting more and more enjoyable. I just hope it gets better in the future. God, I really hope so, but let's move on before I have an aneurysm. Let's talk about London Party. Nope, I already talked about London Party. Let's talk about bonus mode. This is similar to the shop in Vancouver, but a lot has changed. No city to navigate or unique shops. There isn't even Olympic trivia, which is a shame, but I can live without it. Starting with scratch cards. It's not exactly the lottery, but you can win clothing items and costumes for your Miis. If you get a match, you win. If you don't, you'll get a blank card. You can use these and exchange them for items. So it's basically a win-win situation. The main way of getting scratch cards are playing single match and London Party. 2 blanks will give you music from both Mario and Sonic franchises. 5 blanks will give you individual pieces of clothing, basically hats, shoes, gloves, and tops of many variety, and 10 blanks gives you a full character costume. Once again, I regret nothing. I shall enforce the freedom of customization as if I'm playing Tekken 8. The Mii costume change allows you to switch up your Mii's outfit. You can register up to 54 different outfits, and just like Vancouver, stats will change depending on what you wear. You can match up for full outfits or just put on whatever the hell you want. Following the rules is not mandatory, and in this circumstance, it's a good thing. Moving on to sound. You can listen to whatever tracks you want through the jukebox, and you can even change the music for events and gameplay music. I really like this edition, being able to customize what music you want to hear during specific events, an element I very much appreciate. appreciate. Also, this game should be rated T because you have to buy bare feet. Alright, let's get into the smaller aspects, and that's pretty much only one extra mode, being records. It works the same way as the other games, but there's more to look at. Player data shows you your most played character, event, and progress with elements of the game in general. Event records shows you your world and Olympic records, and because we're talking about this game 13 years into the future, I can't compare records with others because rest in peace Nintendo Wi-Fi connection. Next up are challenges. There are a ton of different challenges to complete while playing normally, as well as playing London Party. Finally, you can check out the stickers you've collected from London Party, so it's a nice change of pace after losing a world record to this idiot. Honestly, couldn't be me. London 2012 feels like a true evolution of the franchise. There's a lot of good here. Granted, not everything is all hunky-dory. Sometimes it feels like there aren't that many events to play around, but that's because I usually play a smaller group of events. My main gripe are certain sports not making a return. The track and field events feel empty without the extras from 2008. Times 2 for aquatics with no relay. Some of the others feel like one-hit wonders, but the more I play them, the more I enjoy a good number of these events. I said this earlier, but I believe London Party is the best mode in the franchise, at least on consoles, because I'm not so sure about the handheld games. And the general scale is a lot bigger, especially being able to tour across London. It's a fun time, although seeing how the rest of the franchise turned out, it's possible that we might have peaked here. But let's hope 2014 doesn't give me a heart attack at 21. There's a predicament there, I'll figure something out. I hope you guys enjoyed the short tour of my beach house. Ignore the alligator on my bed. Unlike my cabin, I've completely paid this house off, so I don't have to worry about that. The only thing I actually have to worry about is the gator infestation, but I think it's fine. I don't think anything's gonna happen. I think it's safe to say I'm not coming back to Florida anytime soon.